That would really, really help us out a lot if you could do that. Now you have envelopes. That's what we ask you to put them in. If you'll just put the 2 days together, put them in your envelope that's provided in your box. Okay? You don't have to do anything else. You don't even, don't tape it up, just close it for me to pick when I come and pick it up. Like I said, I'll check them. I have a checklist from them that I'm supposed to go through, and I'll go through the checklist, and then I will send it back. Okay? So let's see, I've gone over with you. And also the prompts that you're going to be given, everybody gets the same one. So it's fine to make copies if you need it. Okay? Since we don't know, this is the first time we've tested it, and we don't have the roster, the other schools that have already tested will actually get a roster of who they tested last year. Since y'all won't have that, we don't know for sure. Yeah, we might be 1 or 2 short. It's perfectly fine to make copies of anything that's in here. But the biggest problem is if the cover sheet's not filled out, then I have to run you down. You know, because sometimes, you know, I'll have problems I've encountered a day 1 without a day 2. There's a place on the form that you have to explain why that happened. And if it's not filled out, I don't know. So I have to try to run you down to find out why Johnny did the prompts the first day, but he didn't complete it. You know, if he didn't come back to school, then that needs to be indicated on there. Just make sure that we know. Can you think of any questions so far about the testing? You will be provided with instructions, and you know this from you guys. If you've taught before, you've tested. It's very unlikely that I run across a teacher that's never given a standardized test before. Read what's on your directions. Okay? You'll have the teacher directions in the box. Just read it out loud to them. Make sure that they understand the directions. If you want, where it asks for the school name and the teacher name, to write it on the board and have them to copy it. Some teachers that, I don't know, that are like me, they write it on there for them before they hand them out. But it depends on whatever you want to do. That's fine too. Just make sure that the cover sheets, we call them, are filled out. Now, it's not timed. I've already said that. Let me emphasize that the test is not timed. But we do ask this. Do not let them leave the classroom with it. Don't let them take it to art, or don't let them take it to lunch, or don't let them take it to recess. If they want to still work on it during that time, but let them please do it under your supervision. Okay? We don't want that to happen. Things get lost that way. And the pens, okay, you're going to have ink pens. They want it done in ink pen, which may be difficult for 4th grade, even though today they probably don't even want to use a pencil in 1st grade anymore. You know how kids are. But I have had, ladies, I have had so many complaints over those ink pens. And I'm like, oh, you get free pens and you get to keep them. And then the teachers start telling me, do you know that they come apart easily and that the kids get ink all over them? And I'm like, but the box is big pens. Well, there was a box that wasn't used last year. So I took them to my office, and when I opened them up, I saw exactly what they meant. When you go to try to take the cap off, it would take the whole thing apart. Oh. And, you know, that's just giving a kid, some kids, oh boy, let's see what I can do with this ink. I had one teacher actually come stomping in with ink all over her hands and said, look at these pens. And I'm like, so if they have a black pen, let them use their black pen. Or if you have a black pen you want them to use, or if you want to check those pens. But they're big pens. But honestly, I've had so many complaints over those pens coming apart and getting ink all over everything. So I'll warn you that ahead of time. You know, it's always something, isn't it? It's always something. But the pens are yours if you want them. If you want to trash them, that's fine too. But you may be lucky and get a box that works just fine. But make sure everybody has a pen. It has to be scanned into a machine, which is why they ask that students use a black pen, yeah, instead of a pencil. And why they want you to use black. What else have I not gone over? What it asks for on the sheet is your name, the class name, the room number, the grade, and the date. Those are the things as I said, if you want to write on the board for them, or if you, however you want to make sure those things are filled in. Okay. Now, after you've tested, you collect the packets, whether or not they finished, or whether you don't think they've written enough, you collect it. We define complete as any packet with writing. Even if it's just one paragraph, even if it's just a couple of sentences. Now, if the parents opted them out, still collect it and still return it. It says we will make sure that we just securely destroy the data and not count it in the study. But if it's not checked on the consent boxes, we can't do anything with it. Even if the student didn't mean to opt out, if it's not checked, then it has to be thrown out. So, which, you know, why are we giving the test if that's the case? So make sure that anything that you collect, there's 2 boxes on there. Okay. What else do we need to tell you? When you fix up your packets to return them, it's going to ask you to include your district name, your school name, especially since it's 4 different schools. Your first name, your last name, your class name, what period you gave the test, the number of students in your class it's going to ask you for, the number of prompts included, and return. Please return unused materials. Don't keep them for future use. You're supposed to return those in there. You can put them out, just if you want to just put those in the bottom of the box and just put the ones that are completed in the envelopes. That's usually what teachers do, and that works just fine. Also, you're going to be asked for the number of students, if there are any, who refuse to participate. We did have that happen last year. We had one student who simply refused to participate, and we just noted it on the information sheet. We don't know why, but also any students who were absent, and maybe in the 2-week period or whatever, you know. If we ask a student that, we don't want to ask any student on homebound to do it. We don't want you to have to deal with that. Okay. And any other notes, anything that you think needs to be included on there in a note, you're welcome to do that.
Okay, so if the student is absent, you're wanting them to mark it on a packet, like it would be a packet you would give the kid, or is there a separate sheet?
There's a sheet. There's a separate sheet that tells us where that student is. We call it the gold sheet. You'll see when we look at the materials. Okay, let's do that. Can we just tear into the box and see what's in there, and I'll show you what I mean. Watch it not be in here. Story of my life. All right. Packing slip, this is Irvington's. Now, and it has on here, there's a student count of 40, which will probably be more than they need.
Right.
But that's good. The elusive return label that the little lady threw away. I think she did it on purpose. Now, notice your envelopes. They're labeled. That's what you put the completed student prompts in. Okay? Okay? You don't have to seal it. Just simply put them back in there. Okay? Now, here is your letters. I like these envelopes too. Here's the famous gold sheet I mentioned that has to be filled out. Okay? This one has Dickinson County Public Schools already filled in, Irvington Elementary. Here's where the teacher's name, first and last name goes, the class name, the class period, the room, all of this. Questions like for the new teacher, are you new to this school? A few little questions. Then it asks how many students are enrolled, how many were in that class. Okay. It asks you number of students who refused. It asks you number of students who did not complete a prompt for another reason. They got sick or didn't return to school on the second day, or that kind of, whatever needs to be on there. And it gives you room to write. to explain anything that you need to explain, okay? And there's one for the 4th grade, one for the 5th grade. This is for Irvington, okay? You'll have one for the 4th and one for the 5th in the other schools. All right. 1 week before the prompt administration, it asks to read all the instructions, meet with me. Here's another overview of the prompt administration we've just gone through, such as if they have an IEP, okay? Instructions for day 1 and 2 prompt administration. If you look how everything's outlined for you. You see, you need to sit down and read it beforehand, but it takes you through exactly what you need to say. Like, for example, please print, do not use cursive when writing your name. Use black ink pens. All that's detailed on here. And you say this to the students also. Gives you some teaching points, such as planning your argument. Make sure the children understand they're planning an argument. It gives you some points here to talk about with the students for what they do on the first and the second day. At the end of day 1, it gives you a little checklist. Okay. Did you collect the reading packets and store them securely? Make sure all students will have pens available for day 2. Don't let them run off with the pens on the first day, even if they are good this time. Make sure. Day 2 instructions in advance. Here they are for day 2 instructions. Okay. There's a new director this time, so I'm looking to see how, to see if it's still in very well laid out for you. It is. And then it talks about 1 week after prompt administration, about making up, doing makeups, and then getting the materials packed up to return to me. Tips during the writing day, just, read over all of this. Here's 2, one for 4th grade, one for 5th grade. Here's the letters. And you've got a bunch already copied. Feel free to copy more. And the letter comes from the people who are doing the research, not from the National Writing Project. That explains it to the parents. And then gives them even their contact information if they want to call them and talk to them about it. Feel free to tell them to call or email these people and ask them. Make sure these letters go home. Okay. It says on here, if you have any questions, contact Nicole, somebody, the principal investigator. I was going to say Tony Robinson, but I thought I better not say that. You'll have a heart attack. But like I said, feel free to copy this. There should be one for each grade. Any questions so far?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do we put 4th and 5th grade back in the same box?
Yes, in different packets.
Okay. I have 3 classes. Do I need a gold paper for all 3?
Feel free to copy it.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be gold. You can copy it on white, as long as it looks like that.
Okay, do I need 3 different ones of these, or can I put all of my
You can
kids
put them
in
all
this?
together if they'll fit.
Okay.
What I would do is I'd rubber band them or something so that they're, to be nice to me, because if you don't, I will.
Okay.
I'll try to separate them. That's fine. And so
Can I ask what you're looking for? It's like giving a pretest at the
this
end
is
of the
all
year
of
and a
this.
test at the end of
The
the year.
whole thing to do with this grant is about professional development, because that's what the Appalachian Writing Project, the National Writing Project, that's our platform. That teachers need professional development, and the best professional development comes from teachers teaching teachers. Those of us who have done it and take our best practices based on research and develop presentations that we give other teachers. That's what I've been doing in the last 10 years since I've become a teacher consultant for the Appalachian Writing Project. As I go in, I've developed several presentations. I do have one on essay and argumentative writing for high school because I was a high school teacher. I also have, my most popular presentation is motivating the reluctant writer. But it's all based in research, but it's taking our things that have worked for us over the years and giving them to you. That's what this is all about. This is all about is what we're showing here with, you all will get the professional development component next year. after it's over. So basically, last year and this year, you are the control group. Buchanan teachers, who are also doing everything you're doing with the testing, are also going to professional development meetings. And they're getting all sorts of professional development on how to teach writing. So what they're doing is they're doing this study to see how much better students do in writing when teachers are given professional development on how to do it, on how to teach writing. Especially what we're targeting is argumentative writing. You know, guys, I taught 34 years. I used to go into schools and do these presentations time after time after time. I was told by teachers of all grades, I hate to teach writing. I hate writing. I don't write. I hate writing. I hate to teach writing. So we're trying to give you tools, give you a toolbox of tools. And some of our very best teacher consultants are the ones who are doing the professional development part of this. Like I said, we're two separate entities. They won't allow me, since I'm doing the testing, I'm the testing liaison, I only deal with, I think it's hilarious, the numbers, you know, but they will not even let me do my presentations in with the presentations that they're doing for the teachers who are in this grant, because they don't want in any way me to know what they're doing and them to know what I'm doing. So that's the whole point of this, is we are showing how desperately teachers need professional development, and when those teachers get that professional development, how it makes a difference in the classroom, how it makes test scores go up. And so far, it's really making a big difference. I've had teachers already tell me, I can tell a big difference. This is in Buchanan County. I can tell a big difference in my students after getting all this instruction they give them. And so what they're doing is they're following, throughout all of last year, the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade teachers followed the plan